Hello everybody and welcome to episode 27 of This Old Knit. I am your host Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry and Pinterest, and I also blog, but not for a while, at thisoldknit.blogspot.com. So as you can see, I'm in a really weird location. I have a very strange camera set up today. I'm trying to record on my phone. So I'm traveling for work, and I'm going to try to adjust this ever so slightly, and it's probably going to fall. Nope, it's okay. So I have it on like one of those the lamps that have the necks that pivot up or down. I flipped it down. It's sitting on a pillow, and then I put the camera on the frame around it, and I clipped it with my belt clip. So I'm either going to set the pillow on fire that I have it sitting on, or the camera might fall off, or it might be totally fine. I don't know. We're flying by the seat of our pants here. It's going to be awesome. And all of my knitting is over there. So I was not really prepared at all. But yeah. One second. Okay, I'm back. Hey, let's get cozy, shall we? I've got my Pellegrino here and my knitting bags, because I never travel without my knitting. So yeah, I drove this time for my trip, and hopefully it looks like I'm looking at all of you. I'm trying to stare at the camera, not the screen that's here in front of my face. So yeah, I'm used to that since I usually use my normal, digital camera to record, so I can't actually see myself because it's an old camera, so it doesn't have like a screen that flips forward for me to preview stuff. So I actually usually just stare at the viewfinder on my camera. So I am typically looking at all of you. Don't you hate that? My hands are very weak from gripping the steering wheel for like multiple hours. Anyway, I drank a coffee because I worked a full day and then I had to drive up here. So I drank a coffee so I could stay awake, and now I'm like way too awake to go to sleep, which is annoying. But like I said, I thought I'd take advantage of it and spend some time with all of you. So this week, I've actually not had a lot of time to knit because I've had to work a lot. And the time that I wasn't working, we tried to do some fun stuff with the kids. So we made some cupcakes for Megwin's school, which if you guys follow me on Instagram, I shared some pictures of them. But yeah, I have some fun stories about that for another time. Maybe later if I have time. So the first thing that I worked on this week is the Willow cowl for my husband. And I made a lot of progress on it actually. So I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. Now the folded hem is flipping up, which I'm hoping that will go away with blocking, but this is the bottom, so it's okay on the bottom because that's going to be like sitting against the shoulders. But for the top, I'm really hoping it's not going to do that because I don't want it to be flopping down. So I'll have to think about that, if like maybe I need to use a smaller needle or something when I do that part so that it's tighter, because I think it's kind of bleh. And maybe it'll block out. I don't know. But it's fine. My husband's happy with it so far. So I'm going to bring it closer so you can all see it. So here it is. It's a whole lot of stitches. Oh, the color's coming out very nicely, at least. So I'm working it on size 6 needles. And it is in No Maker's Tweed base. It's the Scruffy Gnome base. And this colorway is called Gnomesome Dove. And it's actually a really, really nice color. I think it's a really great guy color because it's got kind of olives and browns, but it also has this nice cream and like a kind of steel blue color. So yeah, it's nice. You get these nice pops of color. It's not over the top. It's very subtle, but I really like it a lot. So yeah, that's going really well. And I am modifying the Willow cowl pattern. So it calls for working it with a picot edge, which I'm not going to do. Because my husband didn't want a picot edge. So let me only get this stitch counts. So that's what it looks like. It kind of squishes down, but when my husband wore mine, he really liked that he had the ability to kind of pull it up over his face, so he usually wears it like up over his nose. And then if it's super cold, he wears it to go out and shovel snow for our driveway, so he'll actually pull it up like a hood, and then he can pull that part up and you can just see like this much of his face. So it works really well for him, so that's why he said he wanted me to make him one for him. The modifications I'm going to make, though, is that I'm not going to work the picot, and then it also has yarn overs, so without giving too much of the pattern away, it has sections that are plain and then sections that are lace, and that's what makes it be able to squish down like it showed in the picture. I'm not working any of the lace sections. I'm just working the normal decreases, so it's going to be more like a shaped tube, which will be perfect for the way that he wants to wear it. But the pattern is by Amelia Lyon, and I got it back when it was first published, so it was a free pattern, but it is a paid-for pattern now, so that's why I'm not showing you the part that actually has anything detailed about the pattern. But it is a well-written pattern. It's very basic cowl, very easy to work. So I might make another one like the pattern calls for properly for a gift because it's working out pretty quick. So that is that. And then I did work some on my blanket. Which is kind of my go-to project when I'm stressed or whatever and I don't really have the brain power for anything else. It's kind of nice to just work a couple of rows on there. Oh, I forgot to show my stitch marker. Let me show that. Whoops. Chaos. It's total chaos. Okay, because this guy should autofocus. Since it's my phone and not my camera. My camera doesn't autofocus. But this is my, turn it. It's a little lighthouse. And this came on my pretty lighthouse bag from Kristen, who is Volenvine on Ravelry and Instagram. And she has the podcast, the Yarngasm podcast. And she also dyes beautiful yarns, which I've gone on and on about. And I do not have them with me for this week, but I was able to snag 2 skeins of her Christmas colors, Holly Jolly and Deck the Halls. And the Holly Jolly, I will be adding as part of my Itty Bitty Knits Advent package. As my Yuletide yarn, and the Deck the Halls I'm keeping for me. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to make like mittens or a hat or maybe both. I think it'd be really pretty to use the Holly Jolly with a solid and do like a tam that has stripes or some sort of design like the Selbu Modern might be really pretty with it. So I don't know yet. I need to look at that. And then I was thinking maybe another pair of foraging mittens because I really love the pair that I have and I wear those all the time. So I'd like to have a spare so I could wash them once in a while. Wouldn't that be nice? So my blanket. It is wonderful as always. So here it is again. For those of you who are not tired of seeing it. It looks really cool on my phone. So the pattern is the 10 stitch blanket by Frankie Brown. And you can tell it's pretty big. Ooh, where am I? Where am I? Can you tell I have kids? I do a lot of peekaboo. The yarn is Cascade Eco Duo. And so it's a wool alpaca blend and not superwash, but I don't care. That's fine. It's going to be either a couch blanket or potentially like a throw on our bed. So I don't mind hand washing it. I can't imagine it's going to get washed super often. It'll probably be like a once a month thing where I wash it along with various other hand knits. So like once a month usually I wash all of our hats and our scarves and mittens and all of that, and it's like a whole day of just doing various washings and laying them out everywhere during the winter time. So this would probably be the same way, and obviously if kids dumped anything on it, probably would have to be washed more often, but yeah, I'm excited about it. It's very soft, it's very warm, and it's getting into the time of year where it's a little bit chilly. So it's really nice to be working on it because it sits on my lap and it keeps me very warm, which is great. So yeah, it's a super fun project. I really like it. And it's so pretty. It's really motivating me now because it's starting to really be like a blanket and it serves the function of a blanket. I actually I was not feeling well a couple weeks ago when I was podcasting and I was fairly sick, and I actually took this upstairs and I took a little nap and I just had it kind of over my chest, and it goes down to about like the bottom of my torso maybe, and it was nice. It was just enough warmth, like I had a sheet and then I had this on top of it, and it was like the right amount of weight and the right warmth to just be really cozy and nice. So I had a very good and refreshing nap with it. And I think that is all I have in this bag. And I have a very ripe banana in there too. I was bringing it home from work for banana bread. But then I forgot to give it to my husband to take home. So I'll just have to, I guess, keep it till tomorrow and take it home to him. That's fine. Like if people at work have overripe fruit and they want to throw it away, I just can't bear to throw things like that away. It just, I don't know. Yeah, like we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, so I don't know, wasting food just bothers me. And especially just given that banana bread is so super stinking easy to make. And like this is a good tip for everybody. I peel the bananas and I just have like a big freezer bag where I put the peeled banana in, and then you can just freeze it and you take out the amount that you need when you're ready to do the banana bread, and you don't have to worry about trying to peel a frozen banana. But you can just throw them right into your batter, or put them in a microwave on defrost if you'd like to do that. And then you don't have to worry about it. And they stay very neat and clean. And I just have a shelf in my freezer that has frozen bananas in freezer bags. And I use about 3 in each batch of banana bread or banana muffins. We sometimes make banana muffins too. And they're great. It's really nice. And you can also freeze the loaves of banana bread. So you could make a bunch of loaves at one time and just freeze them and pull them out as you need them or want to eat them. So that is my blanket. I have to decide what I'm going to work on tonight till I fall asleep. Okay. It's hard to decide. I always bring all my projects with me just in case that way I can work on whatever I want to, and I don't have to just be like, well, that's all I brought, so I guess I'll work on that. I always want my knitting to be enjoyable. I don't like to make myself knit things. So the next thing that I have been working on, I think, is a new cast on from last time that I podcast. Pretty darn sure it is. So I am participating in the cowl in Lena's group, the A Wee Bit Nitty podcast group. She is running a mitten along for, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 months, but it started October 1st. And it is called the A Wee Bit Mitty cowl, which I love. It's funny. So that's the hashtag on Instagram as well, A Wee Bit Mitty cowl. So I am using some Patton's Croy FX in the Clover Colors colorway. So it's just a bunch of very autumnal colors. So golds, oranges, greens, navy blues, kind of a burgundy color, and they sort of fade into each other. So there's multiple plies, and the plies are different colors, and that's what the FX range of the colors are. This particular ball had like some green on the outside, so I thought like this springy green was part of the colorway, but I have 2 balls that are the same dye lot, and neither of them have green anywhere else in the ball, just that little bit on the outside. So luckily that came on the inside of the hem of my mitten, so it's not even going to be visible, because it would be weird because it's not anywhere else. So there it is. See how it's like this really bright grassy green? It's so weird. But yeah, it's not anywhere else in either ball, so I think it must just be a mistake. But that happens sometimes with Patton's Croy, and you just kind of take it as it is, because it's a very durable, hard-wearing yarn. It's very affordable, and it's great. It's a good yarn. I have quite a few pairs of socks with it, and I love them all, and they've just really worn well. I'm actually wearing a pair right now. This is my rag shades. These were actually the socks that I wore when I gave birth to Joshua. So they have special memories for me. So anyway, I am knitting Lena's mitten pattern, actually. So it's called Mittens According to Badagak. And she has it both in Norwegian and English. So it starts with Norwegian, and then there's an English version like 3 pages into the pattern. It's very well written. It's just a basic cuff up mitten pattern. It has a folded hem, and it's free. Because the first folded hem just wasn't fun enough, so I decided I'd do another one. So here it is so far. And they're kind of long, actually. So they're meant to be, I think, down like here. So they can really tuck into the arms of your coat, which I really like a lot. So yeah, you just knit that folded hem, and then you're just going to knit straight for 30 rounds, and then do some decreases, and then knit straight some more, and then start the thumb gusset. So Let me see if I've got the pattern. I do. Nope, that's not it. It's Molly's pattern. I have a lot of stuff because I was like, I don't want to not have all the things. I want to cast on all the things. So, there we go. I didn't print the Norwegian part, which would have the title. But there they are. So you can see they're very long. And there's the other picture. Closer up. So she did hers with stripes. And I was like, I didn't want to weave in all of those ends. And I have a lot of patterns, Croy. So I thought it would be nice to do these because they'll match the shawl that my mom made for me for Christmas last year. The one I wore in the last podcast that is the gradient. And it has all these same colors. So this will be very coordinating with them. So yeah, I really, really, really like how it's knitting up. It's really cool. So it's just kind of almost a gradient, but yeah, it's really neat, huh? Yeah, I like it a lot. And I have the unicorn stitch marker from Kristen on there. Thank you, Kristen. I love it. That's just my progress keeper so that I know where my straight rounds started and I can just count up from that marker and know when I get to 30 rounds. So that's that guy. And then I also did a little bit of work on my socks. Whoops, sorry. Stuff's falling out of my bag. And it's living in the bag I was talking about. So the Cape Cod fabric bag from Willow Vine Yarns. And these are my, I call them my octopus with a latte socks. So they are in the octopus garden colorway. Wow, look at that. It's really showing the color really well. This is on her footsie base, the Willow Vine Yarns footsie base. And I've bought, I think, all of her bases now that are fingering weight at least. And I feel like the footsie one really takes the dye. It gets super saturated. So I've seen other people that have Octopus Garden on the blitzed base, and it's not as saturated as this one. Also on the Volca, it tends to be a little bit more pastel-y, but this one, yeah, it's super vibrant, and I really, really like that a lot. This is BFL sock yarn. And I love BFL sock yarns. They're just so fun. I like how springy they are. Okay. So here's sock 2. I haven't got super far on it. I've got the cuff and I'm into the pattern now. It's just sort of been my car knitting, because it's easy to grab it, and I'm just doing the vanilla latte pattern. So it's a very basic pattern. It's just a 6x2 rib, 2x2 rib for the cuff, 6x2 rib for the 6x2 broken rib, I'm sorry, for the leg. So knit 6, purl 2 on one round, knit for the next round. That's what it looks like. And here's sock 1. 64 stitches on a 2.75 millimeter needle. This is my favorite part. I just love how that heel striped. It's just fun. So I'm enjoying those. I'm really excited to have them be done because it's getting into sock weather. And I really, really love wearing socks. I have lots of dress shoes to wear at work that I buy them specifically so that they can work with hand knit socks, because I have lots of hand knit socks and I love to show them off. So, yep. that is everything. That's all my whips. I did not finish anything this week because I've been working on lots of whips, so of course I didn't finish anything. That makes sense, right? And the next thing I'm going to cast on, which I might just cast this on tonight because it's a crazy cast on party and I don't care, is the Windswept Shawl by Molly of A Homespun House. She has a cowl going on right now in the Homespun House Ravelry group. And it's for knitting this shawl. Several people have finished it already. You guys are so, so productive. That is awesome. I have not started mine yet. Because I wanted to finish Megwin's sweater. And I finished it. As I showed you last time. I would have had her model it for this podcast. But then I had stuff come up. So I've just been too busy. And I obviously didn't get my podcast out for this week. So that's why I was like, well, I'll just record while it's just me. But here's my yarn for it. You can see it has a subtle sparkle. It is the Bah. It's BAAH yarns. This is their platinum base. It's a sport weight and it's in the colorway La Perla, so the pearl in Spanish, and it does look very pearly. All of the platinum ones I think are named after gems. I don't remember for sure. They just started carrying this yarn at my local yarn store, so I went in there, and of course the owner Karen was like, oh, have you seen our new Bah yarns? And yeah, she's a sweetie. She's very, very nice. If you're ever in the area, Knitting Temptations in Dublin, Ohio is a really, really great yarn store, and the owner is wonderful. And yeah, I found a tape measure that's not broken. How awesome is that? Okay. I think this calls for a celebration, kids. How about we measure my blanket? Everybody's been asking me how big it is. Let's measure it. Right now. Can you tell I've had a lot of coffee? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm jazzed up. Okay, I'm very excited. Let's do this. I'm spinning around in this stupid chair. So crazy. Of course, now I've piled everything on top of it. This is like live TV, folks. Unedited. Because I don't know how to edit things on my phone. I don't even know how to upload this. This may not work out. This may be footage that is never seen by man. Okay. Moment of truth, people. I feel like I need a drum roll or something. It is 41 inches by 39 inches. So 41 inches by 39 inches. So I was about right when I guessed about a yard or 3 feet this way. That was a good guesstimate. So yeah, it's really coming along. Okay. So didn't have a whole lot else to share. Haven't worked on cross stitch, but I would like to work some more on my cross stitch because I'm running out of time to finish the one for Megwin for her birthday. So I basically need to complete that by probably the end of this month, by the end of October, to make sure I have time to get it framed and back before her birthday. And then yeah, so this week, Megwin gets to do special stuff at her school. They take turns that each week a different person gets to be like the line leader. They get to run little errands for the teacher or whatever if they need that. They get a pencil, and I think they get to do something with a weather bear. I don't know. But she gets to share things that are special to her. So she had talked about it for weeks and weeks that she wanted to have cupcakes. And of course it kind of aligned with month end. So like I've said before, at the beginning of each month is a super busy time for me. So of course her time to do this aligned with that. But she had already asked me for cupcakes. So I knew that I was going to have to be working late several of the nights during her special week. So I was like, okay, I need to get these done on Sunday. And then I had really bad back pain down into my leg. I think because when we went to the grocery and a couple other different stores, I was lifting Megwin into the cart, and she's so big now. I'm not a very big person. I'm only like 5'4". So she's starting to get really long. So to lift her, she's actually like basically the same torso length almost as me. And then just kind of her legs will hang down to like my knees if I'm holding her. So getting her leveraged up into a cart is hard for me now. So I think I just kind of janked something up when I was lifting her. But that set me behind on the cupcake stuff because I was in a lot of pain. So I actually had to go and like take a bath for a little while and take some ibuprofen and just try and relax that muscle. So she wanted to have flamingo cupcakes, and she wanted there to be vanilla and chocolate because some kids might like vanilla and some kids might like chocolate, which was fair. That's a good thing to think about, and I'm glad that she's so thoughtful. But that meant I had to make 2 kinds of cake. And then I made homemade like buttercream frosting for them. So I had to make the frosting. And then hey, my phone cut me off. So I figured I was going to have a maximum amount of time that I'd be allowed to record for a segment. So it looks like it's about 35 minutes. Good to know. So anyway, I baked 2 different kinds of cakes. I made frosting, and while I was doing that, my husband assembled the neck, head, beak combos for the flamingos. So we used strawberry Pocky, which is kind of like, if you haven't had it before, it's this sweet biscuit. But they're really thin. It's just like a long, what's that called? It's not a tube. It's like a rod. Like a really thin rod of biscuit. And then it's dipped in like this strawberry flavored chocolate. Yeah, so I think it's white chocolate, but then it's strawberry flavored. And I'm not a huge fan of white chocolate. I don't mind it if it has a flavoring in it. So yeah, it's dipped in the strawberry stuff, which let us skip a step of trying to make these necks be pink. And then, so we bought a whole bag of jelly beans, and then we fished out just the pink ones. And my husband took a knitting needle and drilled a little hole into each of these pink jelly beans. And then he slowly twisted a Pocky in, because you had to do it really slowly so that you didn't break the Pocky and the jelly bean didn't shatter, because the kind of sugary coating on the jelly part is kind of delicate. So he got all the necks in, and then we used lemon flavored Mike and Ike's for the beaks. I got the idea from, I think it's What's New Cupcake is the name of the cookbook. And it's like different ideas to use like candies and cookies and stuff that you can find easily, at least here in the US, in a lot of different stores. So like drugstore candy or candy that you could go and get at like Target or something like that, or the grocery store. So it called for banana runts for the beaks. I went to 4 different stores, none of which had runts. These used to be a thing when I was a kid. I don't know why runts aren't around anymore. Do other people out there remember runts? They're like little hard candies, and they're kind of a little bit tart. It's like a sweet tart with a coating, with a hard candy coating. I'm sorry, I have alpaca in my eye now. Oh my God. This is the only bad thing about that blanket. I think it'll be better once I wash it the first time. But yeah, I've never washed that yarn. So sometimes little pieces fly off of it. But anyway, yeah, runts. Apparently they're not a thing anymore. Or at least they're a really hard thing to find. So we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do for these beaks? Because that's kind of the perfect shape for a flamingo beak. So we had gone to World Market. We went to Target. We looked at Trader Joe's, and then I was like, well, let's stop at CVS and see if we can find runts there, because they sometimes have weird candy there. I found birthday cake M&Ms, which was pretty awesome. Kind of cool. They're good. They're really good. They're really good. But I digress. No runts. So I was freaking out at this point because I was like, the kids can't handle one more store. I had just run in by myself. Joshua was tired of being in his car seat, in the car, going from place to place. So I did like a quick once through in their candy aisle, just looking for anything that was yellow at all. And I was thinking about maybe getting Starburst and like forming them into a beak, but I was like, oh God, that's going to take so long. And then I saw the Mike and Ike's, and I looked on the back, and I was like, yep, they got yellow. I'm going to make this work. So at first I thought I was going to melt like those Wilton's candy melts and stick it together that way. But the cupcakes were so intensive to make 2 cakes and do all of the cake stuff that it was kind of getting late at that point. So I said to my husband, well, do you think that the Mike and Ike would stick to the jelly bean if we somehow cut it open and got it wet? And he was like, yeah, I think it will. So he did a test one. Like he cut off the end, and then he just kind of got it wet with a little bit of water, and he stuck it on there. And he said, yeah, I think it actually sticks reasonably well. So he made like a super saturated sugar water solution, and he was gluing them with that sugar water solution. So then we had like these necks and head and beak laying on cutting boards, and we put them in the microwave just to let them dry overnight. We didn't want them to be sitting out where they might get disturbed. And in the morning, I got up really early and I put some sugar sprinkles on these cupcakes, and then I put all the necks in. And I think we had 2 beak casualties where the beaks fell off, but overall it worked really well. And then I took like a food safe marker, because there's markers that you can get that you can write on food with. I got a set of them with an egg coloring kit that I got a couple years ago. And I drew on eyes. I was going to draw something on the beaks too, but I was too worried that they might come off if I handled them at all. So I just went with dots for the eyes. And then we walked them into her school, and all of the other kids were like, oh, flamingo cupcakes. So we were like, yeah, okay, we got this. people recognize what we're doing here. So that felt good. I was going to do originally also like the Wilton's candy melts. You can actually draw a shape onto like wax paper and pipe on. You can put the melted candy into a pastry bag with like a decorator's icing tip, and you can pipe shapes, and then as the chocolate hardens, it will keep that shape. So I was going to do little wings and stick them into the cupcake, but by that point I was like, screw it, they don't have wings, they're folded up into the cupcake. I'm not doing wings. And it was fine. The kids didn't care, and apparently they went over really well and everybody was really excited about them. So I'm glad that I was able to do that for her, but man, it was a lot of work. So I did not get to knit at all on Sunday. And then yesterday I knit very little. I think I knit at lunchtime. Just a couple rows on my mitten. So, yeah, my knitting time's been super limited this week. But that's okay. It'll get better. I'm probably going to knit after I stop recording this. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has newly subscribed to the podcast, and obviously thank you to all of my returning viewers as well. I know I've had people who've been with me since the beginning, and I appreciate and love you all. But I am up over 300 subscribers now. Yay! So I was going to do another giveaway, which I think I mentioned before, that when I got over 300 subscribers, I would do another giveaway. So I will open up a thread in the podcast group, because I don't know how to do a giveaway with YouTube, and I know I have more people that subscribe than what are on Ravelry. But if you are on Ravelry and you are a member of the group, then please go and enter once you see that show up, and I will do another giveaway of one $10 or less value US dollars Ravelry download pattern. And just tell me what pattern that you would like to win, and tell me what, if anything, you might like to see on the podcast. And if there isn't anything and you're like, whatever, just keep doing what you're doing, then just say what pattern that you'd like to win. And I will keep that thread open until the next time I record, and then I'll pick somebody with a random number generator and I will gift you your pattern. So there's a weird sound. The refrigerator in the room is making a weird sound. That's going to keep me up all night. I'm a very, very light sleeper, so it does not take much to keep me awake. And yeah, we had like a weird beeping sound that was happening in our house, and we could not figure out what it was. And it was just often enough to be really annoying. And it turned out to be like the smoke alarm upstairs had a low battery, because we used like the rechargeable 9 volts. So it was just doing a little beep like every 15 minutes or so. So it wasn't enough where like you could then listen and see where the sound was coming from. But we eventually figured it out, and we have since, gone and recharged it and put it back. But it was so weird. Hey, I'm yawning. That's good. That is good. So anyway, thank you to everybody for subscribing. Let's see, other things I've been doing this week. I've been catching up on the Love Sock Wool podcast. That's a new to me podcast, and she gave me a shout out. So thank you so much for mentioning me, and you're welcome for the No Makers obsession, because it's great yarn, and Amanda deserves to be amazingly successful because she makes great yarn. She's a great dyer. And I love her stuff. And I'm going to get some of Molly's yarn too, but I need to wait a little bit. I want to knit up a couple of things. Maybe once I finish a couple of these things that I'm working on right now. I really, really want the Peter Rabbit, because I love Peter Rabbit and I have very fond memories of Peter Rabbit, and I read all of that whole collection of Beatrix Potter stories to the kids all the time. So yeah, I would love to get that one to make something out of, but we'll see if it's meant to be or not, if it's still there. She also has one based on Mr. Rogers, who I also really love, so I don't know. we'll see what happens there. But I would like to get some of that. Oh, sewing. That was the other story I was going to tell. So I tried to sew something for my itty bitty knits package. I was going to do for something that reminds you of an old-fashioned Christmas. I was going to sew some candy canes. That was an epic fail. The first one I made was too small, so when I actually sewed it and then I tried to turn it right side out, it was so tight that I could not flip it right side out. And then the second one I made it bigger, but I couldn't get around the curve with my sewing machine. My sewing machine does not play nicely with curves at all. I just have a really, really basic sewing machine, which is fine. A lot of things just need straight seams. My husband sewed like a tarp and several other items for his bushcrafting kit on it, so it's been fine. But that kind of stuff, it's not so good at. So I'm probably going to have to hand sew it. But Megan, bless her heart, she was like, we can save it, Mommy. I'll just do it. So she was sitting there just very meticulously stuffing the cane part of the candy cane, not the curved part. And so I'm going to have to at least finish it for her because she was like, it can just be for me and baby Josh. And we'll play with it in our play kitchen. So I'll probably at least finish it for them, even if I don't make any more to gift. But that idea did not work out so well in the execution. But I'm probably going to make a couple of bags because one of the items needs to be a handcrafted item. And I don't have time to knit another thing, I don't think, before the deadline. And a couple different people in that group sent me links for how to make some really basic drawstring bags. So I'm going to try a couple of those and see if they work out. Because I have all those nice fat quarters that are holiday fabrics. And I think that would be fun to include one. And hopefully my swap partner won't care and won't be critiquey of my sewing skills or lack thereof. Hey, it'll hold your project and it'll be with a cute fabric. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all that I had to share. I'm going to go try to wind down and knit a little bit. Thank you all for watching, and put your stuff in and keep chatting in the double dip cowl. I again do not have the prizes with me because they're at my house, but like I said, it's a set of 2 skeins of, I think they're either lace or fingering weight. It's pretty autumnal colors from Knitting Notions, which is kind of a local to me dyer. I think she just does like shows. So she doesn't really like vend. She might have an online store, but it's knitting, and then Notions is KNOTIONS. So they're really pretty. And then I'll probably do another Ravelry download for the other prize. So just to review, it's any other cowl that you're participating in. Doesn't matter what it's for, doesn't matter what group it is. I just like cowls because I'm crazy and I like to overcommit myself to stuff. So I love to know what else is going on out there, and I've been able to find a bunch of cool podcasts and a bunch of neat groups through it already. So yeah, if it qualifies for another cowl, it qualifies for my double dip cowl. The whole point is that you're double dipping. So, and I only have one thread. It's chatter or whips or FOs. You don't even have to finish your thing, just if you're working on it and it's something that qualifies in another cowl. Doesn't even have to be done. Just that you're working on it and you're chatting. And then I'm just going to draw random numbers from all of the posts. If I pick myself, I'll just pick again until I get one of you. And that is going through, I think I said the end of November. It's really, really low-key. So, yep. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you get to spend time doing the things that you love this week. And I will talk to you next time. All right, bye-bye.